Well, hello, this is the Dove Lady, and today is my birthday. And so my daughter took me to the river to float down the river. It's in San Marcos where the river is that we floated. But before we left, I was all fancied up. I had this little hat on, and I made this out of papers, 144 of them. Anyway, I just wanted to get some pictures with the hat on me, and I'm ready to go swimming and floating down the river. But I thought, I want the people that like to look at my videos to see who it is that's talking to them all the time, to see a few pictures of me. So here today, August the 4th, 2013, I'm going to make a video and have a little bit of me in it. I have a room that's got all kinds of things on the walls, and this is a big old orb-like thing that I made out of mostly carnival beads, the Mardi Gras beads, and all kinds of other stuff as well. But a very colorful thing it is. And she was saying, lift your chin, Mother, because I had this turtleneck kind of skin that drops down. But if I lift my chin, then I look like I'm looking up somewhere. So I just tried to look up somewhere, trying to look pretty. I'm pretty ordinary looking though. And this is me sitting at my computer. This is where I read the books. And that's my little tripod that I use a flip camera to take a lot of the pictures of the words in the books that I have on my computer screen that I'm reading. A lot of people like to read along with me. I don't always focus it just right, but a lot of them you can read along with. I'm going to be posting the book Vision by Ken Carey today, and you will love it. Okay, this is me again sitting at my computer. I feel weird talking about myself. This is me. I feel like I'm trying to brag or something. But I know a lot of people like to know who is doing the reading of these books, and they've never really seen me. Sometimes I'm going to put some darker color in my hair to cover all the gray. But it just washes out and the blonde comes back and the gray. That's not too good a one. And this is another part of my room. It's just a small room, but I've got a lot in it. I don't have this focus right. Okay. I've made this thing mostly out of paper and really beautiful paint. And I thought, I'm going to put my eye in the center because everybody does that and it's supposed to be some evil symbol. Not that I think it is. But anyway, I did it 2 or 3 times. And this is the Freedom Star that I make out of paper. The same paper that I made the little crown you saw on my head. And the Freedom Star has a story behind it that I will point you to. I think I've got that a playlist for that story of how to make this and what it means. And the Freedom Star is what Nikola Tesla called Earth, Freedom Star. And after you hear me read the book by Ken Carey called Vision, you will agree Earth should be called Freedom Star. It really should be, and you'll see why. So you'll have to listen to that book that I'm going to be loading today. And that's just something I made out of clay. And there I am. See, I have this little neck, a little waddle, I think that's what they call it. It's not real attractive. And this is great. There's an orb. I got an orb. Let me go close in on that. Oops, I can't do it. I have to. There's the orb. I'm always taking pictures of orbs, but using my marbles. wow, how did they get blue? Oh, that's my makeup that looks that way. And here I've messed things up. Okay, I threw my hands up and said, okay, you've taken enough pictures, let's go to the river. And so we got in the car, stopped by Kentucky Fried Chicken, and got us something to eat while we were there. The original flavor is the only one I like. And now we're on the road to San Marcos. We got these drinks with it, and I bought these big old huge straws. They're metal. And there's where we were going, Leisure Resort. Cabins, RVs, tents, you can camp there in anything you wish to camp in. And it's beautiful grounds, all these huge trees, and all along the river, trees of every description. And people everywhere, although this was not as bad as yesterday. They said Saturdays are just, everybody is there. Oh, and look at this one. Well, I was taking this picture, and that's ugly. Oh, I don't want to show you that. That's too ugly. But it looked so funny. I said, I didn't know I was taking a picture of myself. Now it's kind of moving on its own. Wait a minute, go back. And we drove around to see what the campsites looked like. We have a little pop-up tent that looks, not tent, but a pop-up camper that looks like this. Has an air conditioner and everything. It's pretty comfortable. So, it's old though, but we fixed it up. So, we're going to go camping here someday. And that's a little sleeping unit that people make, these little modules, and that's just a place to sleep at night. Kind of interesting. And they have these little treehouse looking cabins. You can rent cabins there. If you don't want to camp, you can not rough it, you know. Although camping nowadays is not roughing it. When you use an RV or a pop-up camper, you can control the air conditioning, and you can you have light, and you can cook in them and all kinds of things. You got refrigerators. It's hardly roughing it. Another one of the little camps. And you can come there for the day, and there's a place where you can picnic for the day campers that aren't going to be spending the night. They also rent the tubes so you can float down the river, and they carry you to the place. They drop you off, and then you float back to the camp. And it takes about an hour in the water. See that squirrel? There's squirrels all over the place out there. Here's where we rented the tubes. Only that's not the tube. We had black ones. There's our tubes. The guy's putting them in the little cage, and he's going to take us to where we get off. And we talked to him. I took a picture. And there we are at the place where we're going to get into the river. And I'll just show you some of the pictures. This is where we got into the water, right about there. We got in. And people are everywhere on this river. Swimming, you'll see. Some of the pictures will show them. And there's Susan standing with her tube, ready to get in the water. And me, standing there, ready to get in the water. And we're in the water here. I have these Croc shoes on. Oh no, I lost one of my decorations. A butterfly. I had a butterfly on either side. Oh well. Crocs are so fun because these shoes, they have holes in them, and they're just rubber, and you can wear them anywhere. And you can punch little things down in it to make it pretty. You know, all kinds of little things they have that you put into the shoes to give them a little style. And we're floating down the river, and I'm taking pictures. And because I'm taking pictures, I only have one hand to kind of push myself away from going into the side of the shore, or to go into a log. Sometimes I run right into it because I can't really maneuver real good when you're only using one hand and one hand's holding the camera. And see, people just in this river sitting on logs, like this guy here. Sorry, I'm all over the place here. The trees are just beautiful out there. And all along the banks of this river, there's these huge elephant ears. They're just everywhere. I took a picture of the sun. And trees and sun and roots and water. I just got as much of the scenery as I could get. Sometimes it would run a little swift if the water was deep, and sometimes a little slow, really slow, and sometimes your butts drag out of the tube onto the shallow areas that you hit the rocks. Which way am I going? Okay, I wanted to show you this one. I got an orb. There's an orb in this picture. Now, I tried using my marble to get the real colorful orbs, like you see so many of the orb pictures that I have. But where the sun was in the sky made that impossible. It was like 1 o'clock and the sun was pretty much overhead. And it's not really easy to take orb pictures with the glass, the shine on the glass, because the shine on the glass doesn't show too good when the sun's overhead. But still, I managed to get an orb. And the river doesn't really run very rapid. You know, there's no dangerous rapids. We wondered what this little yellow thing was. And it is some kind of lily. I'll go up close on it here. See? Some kind of lily that grows. I wonder what it looks like if it opens up. I bet it's really pretty. Anyway, the trees were just beautiful. Couldn't keep my eyes off of the trees. And there is a little turtle. I got that little turtle. A close-up of the elephant ears because my tube ran me right smack into them. So I just took a real close-up view of them with my camera. And it was just really... Now here's the big old rapids. See? Treacherous rapids there. But they were kind of fun. And the sides have limbs and trees and roots. It's really interesting. You could spend a long time if you just could take your time, but the river just pushes you along, and I see more now with the pictures than I saw while I was doing it, because you go by so fast. And you hit logs like this, and then you just have to pull yourself around them. But I was interested in taking pictures of the bank anyway. My tube ran up against the bank so often that I said, that's all right, I get out somehow with one hand and one hand on my camera, because I like taking pictures like this of the bank. There's so many interesting little areas. I think, oh, on this one, my daughter went around that way, but I went through the treacherous way because I wasn't able to keep myself in the mainstream, and I went around that way right there. Wasn't easy. But I'm not going to put my camera away just to make it easy, because I want the pictures. It was so beautiful there. I was really enjoying myself this morning. Well, this wasn't this morning actually. It was, like I say, it was around 1 o'clock. Here I am about to hit this bank. That's my shoes. I'm missing a butterfly. Oh, I've got it on pan and zoom. Let me see how that would be to have it on pan and zoom. Yeah, that looks better. It'll be about like 9 seconds each. Oops, I went backwards. So you'll see some of the same pictures twice. There was the orb that I captured. I'd rather do it this way than be clicking all the time. And the water was not cold. We thought it was going to be real cold. We're used to rivers that are real cold, but the water was warm. In some places where it was shallow, it was like being in a tub of hot water. Still, it was refreshing. And it was interesting to look at all the foliage and the little turtles and the birds and the people fishing. This man's fishing here. Sometimes I would just take a picture of the sky. It's nice to get out in nature. I don't do it often enough. I really need to do it more. I stay in my room in front of my computer way too long. I need a traveling companion, someone to go places with, to see sights with. And see these people, I'm going to stop it here. Oops. Oh dear. Now, to go back because I messed up by doing that. Those people there, I want to show you where they're. I guess I'm not going to do it. I'm sorry, I'm messing this up terrible. Okay, you see what they're doing? They're just sitting in the water in chairs, letting the water run by and having a good old conversation. I would love nothing better than to sit with a bunch of friends out in the water, drinking some kind of refreshing drink and just watching the day go by. Now, that's what I wanted to do that I messed it up so bad doing. Let's see if I can get it on pan and zoom again. So down the river we go, passing by people that are just sitting in chairs in the water or sitting on a rock or a log. And the big old rapids here, you see them? Not very scary, but beautiful, beautiful trees. And see all those elephant ears? They were just all along the bank. Real many of them. They were just everywhere. I like elephant ears. Plants. That right here, this branch right here, going across here, I got stuck way over here on. I had to pull myself. See how close I am? I'm pulling against this log that I took a picture of, and I was really up too close, so it didn't turn out good. And there were lots of these kind of places where you can get gently pushed up to a big log that traps you right there. And it's not real easy to get out of those inner tubes. Well, the tubes, they're hard to get out of when you're in them. And for me it was hard because I was carrying a camera and I had a plastic bag I put it in, but I was so afraid if I get out and fall out sort of getting out, I would get my camera bag wet and maybe get my camera ruined. There's Susan, just relaxing in a real slow place. And she got her hair in the water. She always likes to get her head in the water if she goes swimming. She was always that way as a kid. If I said, you can't go underwater when you swim, they would say, well, then we just don't want to swim. That's another trap. A trap for your tube to keep you blocked in. Well, the water wasn't all warm, just in the shallow parts was it real warm. The temperature was pretty good, but it wasn't just freezing cold. I've been in so many rivers when I was a child and many years ago, up in the Ozark Mountains where the water is so cold. It takes, you just inch your way in and then that takes an eternity to get in. And some people just jump right in and get it all over all at once. I took a lot of pictures like this of the cypress trees, their roots going into the water that were just beautiful. And there were just so many cypress trees like this. So beautiful. And we just see a little of it. If you know, there's a lot of little living things in all these areas that to explore it, you have to really go up into it. And then you're never going to see all the microbial life, the little tiniest of things. We live in a world that has so many dimensions that are right here that we could see and we can see with our instruments. But mostly we don't see them unless some photographer makes a good movie showing these things that we'll never see, except that photographers are so good at getting tiny things into documentaries to show us another world right here where we are that we're pretty much unaware of. And that's a wasp on the water. They light on the water and they just drink water or enjoy themselves and then just take off. The water never gets them like it does other kinds of bugs sometimes. They get on the water and drown. I kept taking pictures of trees and tree stumps and roots. It was so beautiful to see all that. I was thinking I'm having a mighty fine birthday. I need to do this more often. To get up close to nature like this, to just reach out and touch her. I didn't get up real close to any of these roots though. Oh, that's 2 dragonflies mating on my leg. They landed on my leg, 2 of them stuck together. Now see, this is, we're now nearing the camp where we will turn in our tubes. And there's these kids that are jumping out of this tree into the water. It's a deep spot where they're jumping, of course. This river has shallow and deep and shallow and deep. And you never know when you're going to be in the shallow or the deep. That was another dragonfly on my foot. Beautiful little blue things. They're really cute. And that's me after we got out of the tubes and back to the camp to eat our Kentucky Fried Chicken. Oh, I want to stop it here. Oops, go back. Okay, I want to stop it here because my camera does some funny things. It makes a big blue ball that looks like a nipple. You don't see it in this one, but I know that's just something the camera does, but I've never seen it do this. This green thing here that looks really funny. Nor this red thing. I've never seen that. It may be something my camera does, but then again, maybe not. Because I've never seen it do this before. Just another one of the little mysteries of life. And that's a bird we saw. She thought at first it was a woodpecker, but no, I don't think so. It wasn't a woodpecker. And Susan's makeup was all running down her cheeks. And I think this is the last picture, and it's just about done. Wait a minute, is it starting over again? I don't know. I didn't do this so well. I'm going to exit out of there anyway. And just tell you that I had a really good birthday today, and I hope everybody has as fun a time on their birthday, even more fun if they wish. And I will end this with one of these pictures, that one right there, the turtle neck picture. Maybe I'll go to a better one, that one with the orb. You never know when a lot of people get this kind of orb. When they take a picture, they don't see the orb. But when they look at the picture, there's the orb. And a lot of people really appreciate those kind of orb pictures because it surprises them so. They never saw it. And the pictures I take of orbs, if you've looked at any of my orb pictures, they are intentional. I see them with my camera. And they're so colorful and they're really pretty, and I can intentionally make the orb be there because of the way I take the picture. And this is the Dove Lady, and I just want to say to the people who listen to me read books, I finally showed you what I look like and where I work. And I hope that I didn't sound too braggy or anything like that. I'm not really into myself, like I don't like to do that. But maybe I should learn to do it more because for one thing, I want to show, let me go back to my library. I want to show some of my orb pictures. And I think that if I could if I could go to some metaphysical center where they have a big screen that I could show people these orbs, the pictures I have of them, and it would be spectacular. I think they would love it. But what I need is to know someone who can know the ins and outs of how you go about getting the use of the film projector to put it up on a big screen on the wall. And then I would also tell the people that were coming to that meeting, bring your digital cameras and a little glass object, like a glass marble or a glass candle holder or something made of glass, so that I can show you how to take some very unique pictures of what is all around us, all this color of these orbs. These are taken right here in my own room. And while I do have a lot of color on my walls, this is not from that. This is the color that is in light, just the light, the LED light that's in my room. I get color in the orbs that I take outside, but not near as colorful. And I think it's so interesting, and I wonder what these things are, all these patterns and all these little round circles that I see in so many of the orbs. They have some very interesting things, and the more I take pictures of orbs, the more interesting things I find, and the more questions I have. Questions right now that I don't have the answers to. Some people say, well, you're just getting pictures of dust. But I don't think so. Dust couldn't look this interesting. Not to say dust is not important or not pretty. Probably seen up real close, it probably is very interesting. But this is not dust. It couldn't be. There's just no way. I know light is information. And see how light travels? I can see the light travel as at first the round circle orb, but then it lengthens like a worm, and it enters into parts of its own self. It'll go in a circle, and it's like the snake that's biting its own tail. And this was in motion, and it went right down into this part right here that I'm pointing to, and then became part of it, and this part was no more. But what you see in the light, and this is a very important thing to say, is according to your perception. It's according to your movement. It wouldn't be doing or showing any of these things without our motion, the motion of our eyes or the motion of our cameras. So orbs are interconnected with us because it's us who determines where to look, and it's an interesting subject. I wish more people were interested in orbs because others could study it deeper and better than I can. This one right here, let me make it get big. Go back to it. when I put it on that pan and zoom, then I have no control. But what I wanted to do is take you up real close in it, and I can't do that. Oh dear. I will keep trying. See all the little fuzzy, like bright colors that are in this. It looks like cotton in a way. Just so interesting to me. How could that be right there in empty space? Well, space is not empty. It's obviously not empty if all this color is in it. And this is just in a little shiny place off of a piece of glass. It's a concentration of light. And light is information, and light is energy. And we surely need to study information and energy and find out all we can about it. I think there will be a way of communicating with the light and working with it. And won't that be nice? Won't that be wonderful? But I think one of the important things to remember when working with light, or what you call the atom, or the photon, is to respect it. Not to push it and shove it around, not to do what people do when they generate energy by forcing the atom, splitting it, forcing it to collide, spending millions and billions of dollars on trying to do something with the atom, when all they really have to do, all any of us really have to do, is to consider it an entity that has feelings and that has the ability to communicate with us and work with us. So we will have a world that we can clean up of all the pollution, because if you can talk to the electrons and you can talk to the atoms, we can get some things done. We maybe can even materialize things. I know that's pretty far-fetched sounding, but I do believe it's possible. I've read many metaphysical books that talk about masters who bring things right out of the literal air, you know. And I want to manifest. I want others to be able to manifest. And this is the only way I can think that I could afford to give the whole world all the resources it needs, because I used to think, well, I want to be rich, I want to have a big house, I want all this. But it's not enough to want it for just myself, because there would still be really poor people and hungry people and needy people, sick people, and all kinds of people in bad situations. And I couldn't sit comfortable in a big fancy house knowing that there's so many who do without, and there I had so much luxury. So my prayer to God is I want unlimited resources, unlimited power. And to get that, you have to be willing to love people and not judge them, and to believe some pretty far out there things like that we could create like the masters do and just bring forth any needed item. Because many years ago when I was younger and I went to Sunday school, and they would talk about Jesus multiplying the bread and that we would do greater things than he did even. And yet we sent our missionaries over to other countries and they weren't able to multiply the bread so they could help the people that were starving. And I thought, well, why don't we learn to do that so we can really help people? But now I've sort of given up on the church. And I'll tell you why. Because they think that it's all right to hate the enemy, even though Jesus said, love your enemy. And they think it's all right to go to war, even though Jesus said, if you live by the sword, you'll die by the sword. And Jesus said, resist not evil. And they don't understand what that means. But whatever you resist continues, and you make it even worse. So you love the evil. You don't love what the evil's doing, and you don't aid them or abet them in doing it, but you don't hate them, and you don't wish them to go to the pits of hell. You know, I've heard that said in churches where they're talking about demons and devils, and they think it's all right to hate and to believe for them that their lot in life, in eternity, is to be tortured forever. So I could never go along with Christians because of that. So it put me at odds with a lot of people, even my own family. But that's just what I think, and I can't unthink it. Anyway, enough talking. I'm getting into too much. So I will let you go now. And this is the Dove Lady, over and out. Bye-bye.